And welcome again to the Bob Show here on KYCA 1490 AM. I'm Bob Recker, your local host for the now famous Bob Show. And the reason I'm saying it's famous now because we have a very special guest who we get to corral in here at least once a year. And he's back again for a short period of time. And it's Dr. Richard Holdaway from jolly old England. And I tease him about that all the time, about being from England. And when you hear him speak, you'll understand why, he's going to sound like he's from. And I'm teasing him now. He's smiling. And so if you haven't heard from Dr. Holdaway in the past, I'm going to start by got a bunch of questions for him, and I'd like for him to just go ahead and introduce himself. Tell us the audience who you are, what your expertise is, and while you're at it, it would be interesting, I think, to the folks out there to find out how you found Prescott and what brought you to Prescott, Arizona.
Sure, Bob. Well, thanks as always for inviting me back. It's so wonderful being back in paradise.
Yeah,
blue skies every day.
Yeah.
What more could we possibly want? My sister contacted me just before we came out, just to see what we were going to be up to while we were out here, and she let slip that she and her husband were going to Florida on vacation for a couple of weeks. I said, "Well, look, forget Florida. Come over to Arizona." She's been here before.
Oh, okay.
And she said, "No, we're going to Florida for blue skies and warm weather down there."
Yeah, it's freezing.
They arrived just about a week ago. First day, it rained. Second day, it rained. Third day, it rained.
Yeah.
So I thought there's a moral there. So,
Yeah.
Ali, if you're listening, just listen to your big brother from time to time.
Yeah, really.
But no, it really is great being back over here. So to answer your question, so Ruth and I have been coming over here for about 13 years now, and spending quite a large chunk of the time over winter. Because, England's a great place. We play proper games like cricket,
Yeah, right.
croquet, okay?
Yeah. Sure.
Real games of skill without tons of padding on. But winter is miserable, not because it's heavy snow or heavy rain, but because it's just cloudy and
Grey.
drizzle and grey.
Yeah.
So we come over here and it's wonderful with all the blue skies and so on. So we've been doing that for 10 years now, actually staying here over winter. And we're still both doing a bit of work part-time, but we can do that from anywhere in the world. So being over here is no problem. So if anybody that hasn't listened to the show or been to any of my talks at Embry-Riddle, I spent all my career in the space program, 55 years of it. Worked with countless programs with NASA and the European Space Agency and countries all around the world, including Russia, including China, which you guys aren't allowed to do, but we are at least on the science side. So I've worked on programs most of the time, but now doing quite a lot of lecturing as well, wonderfully on cruise ships. So we normally do a couple of cruises a year where I give talks. And then when I'm over here in Prescott, give talks up at Embry-Riddle.
Right, what you're going to be. Let's go ahead and do that. Tell us when it is this year, and then we'll mention it again at the end of the show.
Sure. So every other year I give a set of 8 or 9 lectures up at Embry-Riddle, but the in-between years, of which 2026 is one,
Yeah.
I'm just giving the one lecture. It's a new one. It's artificial intelligence and the space program, so what AI will do for space, what it won't do, but what it will do. That's the 24th of February. So what's that? Week and a half's time, 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And it's at 7 o'clock in the main lecture theatre up there,
the Davis Learning Center.
Yep. 7 o'clock. It's all free, and there's no need to register. So if you're listening or you've got friends that might be interested, just turn up on the day, 7 o'clock, and see what I have to say.
Yeah, I can tell the people listening and watching that you'll enjoy it. And I was bugging Richard the other day about AI and what he knows about AI, and he said, "Well, you'll have to come to the lecture to find out." So
exactly.
I got.
So don't you dare ask me questions now on AI.
Yeah, AI's got me perplexed, and I keep hearing all these descriptions about it and how it may change our lives, literally change our lives, and it's kind of intriguing because it's another step in how culture is moving and advancing and whatever. and yet it's still a mystery.
It's going to be a fundamental change to, our lives. Yeah.
When you think about it, my grandfather was born before cars, long before airplanes, and what transpired in his life. And then, in our lives, when we were youngsters, TV was a big deal. I can remember getting our first television, And now, when you say that to somebody now, they go, "God, you're getting old." This is really, really way back there. And then this is another progression into something that may change how we do things.
Well, if you think cell phones, how that's changed our lives,
exactly,
and the internet, and AI is going to do the same. And there are a lot of misunderstandings about AI, and I'll talk about that on the 24th. One of the issues with AI at the moment is it can't do many of the things that humans can do yet. But if anybody says to you AI doesn't have a sense of humor, don't believe it.
Okay.
You can have some incredible conversations with some of the AI systems that are out there and get the most amazing responses. And I'll give some examples of that in 2 weeks.
On the 24th, yeah. Okay, you hear that. You'll have fun on the 24th. You'll learn something at 7 p.m. at the Davis Learning Center. Those of us who've been around far, you know where that is, out at Embry-Riddle. So if you haven't been there, look it up before you go so you don't get a little – it's right there when you enter the – Embry-Riddle's parking lot stuff. It's not way back in there somewhere, and it's pretty easy to find. But you got to kind of know where you're going.
They usually put up signposts as well to park.
Right, they'll put up a sign.
But again, for anybody coming, starts at 7. I'll be talking for 45, 50 or 5 minutes, and then plenty of time for Q&A afterwards.
Okay, I always think of you as England's NASA. Is that kind of fair?
A little bit of exaggeration, Bob, but let's not let the facts get in the way. Yeah. So the laboratory I ran for 17 years was a little bit like the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena, except much smaller. But although we were smaller, we probably have had more payloads launched into space than JPL. So we've currently had about 250, 260 payloads in space on all sorts of different missions, not just with NASA, like I said. And we've gone to all the planets. We've spent a lot of time developing instruments that look at stars for astronomy, all the planets, but also looking down, both for civil purposes, looking at disaster monitoring, looking at shipping, looking at development of big cities, as well as just a few things on the security side, but both civil and military, but looking to protect borders, all that kind of stuff. It's been great fun over 55 years, that's for sure.
Well, it's like the GPS thing that we have now. None of that would exist without the things that go on in your kind of
Yeah, sure. So I mean, most people have a sat nav in their cars. They're driven by the space program.
Yeah, I want to get into when you said 250 different things that you put up there in space, payloads. I want to talk a little bit about Elon Musk and what he's done. But if I ask you how many payloads Elon Musk put up into space, you would tell me.
So far, about 15,000.
Okay, so
his current constellation, he's working towards 40,000.
And he's got things on the horizon that.
Wait until 3 weeks' time for the talk.
Oh, okay.
I will I'll blow your mind on what's coming up there in terms of Musk and other stuff.
I see. Here we are. On the Bob Show, we've got this guy who knows the stuff that's going to be happening long after we're gone. I mean, a lot of it. It'll happen immediately, but it'll just get better and better and better as time goes by.
He's completely revolutionized the space program. He's got tons of stuff coming up. I mean, you probably heard that the NASA's mission to the moon, which was due to take off this weekend, has been postponed by a month. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not postponed 2 months, 3 months, 6 months.
Okay,
and that eventually Musk takes over anyway.
Okay, this just went through my little brain here. Musk is going to the moon.
He's going. Well, yes, he's going to the moon anyway.
Not him personally, but his.
Yeah. His rockets are going to the moon. His rockets will be going to Mars.
Okay, well now let me and we know that China has a program, and they want to get to the moon. And my question is then, let's assume that Musk gets to the moon, and then China thinks, well, we got to get going, and they get to the moon. Who gets to Mars first?
No, you mean the Mars, or you mean Mars, or you mean the Moon?
I no, I mean Mars. I'm assuming that set aside the Americans right now. Just talk about
Okay,
Musk and the Chinese,
okay,
and they've both gotten to the moon one way or another in the last, I don't know, sometime this year.
yeah,
Who gets to Mars first if that happens?
okay. So you're referring to humans on Mars,
Yes.
and the Chinese. Well, no, let's go back. NASA has said 2035, probably for Mars, humans on Mars.
2035. Okay.
The Chinese have said 2031, 2032.
Okay.
Musk, God bless him, has said 2029.
Okay.
But there's another surprise on the way.
Oh.
And
okay.
I'll tell you that. That will also blow your mind.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you
okay.
that on the 24th of
Okay,
February
good.
as well.
You know, we were just talking about, and I don't want to get political, but it did go through my head the thing about Donald Trump, where he has a lot of ideas and a lot of things, and he blurts them out. Never seen a president that does this
Sure.
kind of before.
Sure.
But he also follows through with action. And I think that's what drives people crazy. And it's kind of like Musk does the same thing. If he's if he goals to do something, he just doesn't goal to do it. He actually achieves it either before or close to the date he's set out.
Yeah, I mean,
It blows my mind.
They're both risk takers. Musk even more so than President Trump.
Yep.
And the difference with Musk and why he's been so successful and being so successful is he's able to think outside the box. He's able to do things that actually governments can't do because he can, his is almost all private money. So he can take risks that NASA, for instance, can't.
Right.
And that's the main reason why NASA has delayed continuously their moon launch. They want to be as near as you can to 100% sure that the mission will be successful. Musk's attitude is completely different, not with humans, but with his rockets. He says, well, if it blows up, but we'll learn something from it, and we'll get it right the next time. And something different will go wrong that time, but he'll learn more and more. And now, his main rocket, Falcon, is by far and away the most successful launch vehicle of all time.
And he recovers the launch.
And now he's
mechanism.
recovering a lot of the systems. He's launching pretty much every other day at the moment.
Really?
Just astonishing. Yeah.
And where is he launching from the United States somewhere?
Oh yeah, both from the East Coast and the West Coast. And he broke his own record probably a month ago with 140 satellites on one launch. Just incredible. I mean, it would have been unthinkable 5 years ago.
What are they? Most of them.
They're communications.
Communications.
Yeah,
okay.
communications and internet.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to take a break. And we're actually past our break time, and I've got some specific questions about what's going on in space that are kind of unusual, at least to me. So we'll get to those right after these words. Stick with us. We'll be right back, and we'll get with Kurt too. So stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the Bob Show. We're, excuse me, we're talking to Richard Holdaway from England, and he's been on the show in the past. And Kurt's on the line. I'm going to take Kurt first before I get into some of the quick questions I have for Richard. So, Kurt, I should say Dr. Holdaway. Kurt, are you there?
Yes, I am, and I appreciate you taking my call, and I really love this your guest.
That's good to hear. So do we.
So I have a dumb question. With so many satellites up there, how soon are we going to have a demolition derby?
Hey, Kurt. Well, look, thank you very much for your question. That's a really good question. It's becoming not a serious problem, but a problem that everybody is putting their minds to. Large bits of satellites have always come down, originally in an uncontrolled way. Now, pretty much anything that's large, NASA or Japan or China can ensure they land in the Pacific in a pretty harmless area.
Sure.
But the big problem is just the huge increase in the number of satellites. Until 2020, there were something like 10,000 satellites launched. In the last 5 years, there have been more than 10,000 in total launched. And as I was saying to Bob off air just now, Musk is launching pretty much every other day at the moment as part of his Starlink network. So the chances of collisions are getting bigger and bigger. We have ways of dealing with this now. So all satellites the last 15 years have had the orbit capability to deorbit, which means they have to carry some extra fuel. And then at the end of their life, they have to deorbit, and then the satellites normally burn up.
Quick question: can they crash together while they're in space?
Yeah, they can, and there are at least 5 known instances of that.
Oh, okay.
And certainly with space station, where there are humans on board, they raise the orbit or they lower the orbit of space station probably 3 or 4 times a year. Now, if they're the slightest bit worried of any bit of space junk coming their way, the problem is that it's not just big spacecraft. There are something like 250,000 pieces of space junk now that are getting on for the size of a baseball.
Wow.
And, one of those traveling at 8 miles a second isn't going to do a space station a lot of good, that's for sure.
No.
As you may recall from the movie Gravity, if you saw that.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but this reminds me of Mount Everest and how there's basically a dump at the base camps now because nobody's taking their garbage out.
No,
so is
absolutely right.
anybody proposing a garbage truck for satellites?
Yeah, there's a couple of programs underway looking at that. And in fact, one of those missions, which is a European Space Agency mission, is either just about to be or just has been launched. The problem is you can pick up a satellite that's dead and you can pull it back down, at least down out of harm's way until it burns up. But 3-dimensional space and the large number of satellites means that unless you develop some sort of absolutely massive space vacuum cleaner, then there's very little you can really do about it. So you've got to have everything deorbited as much as possible. The other big thing that has been a problem has been the ASAT tests, the anti-satellite tests, which you guys in the US have done once and the Chinese have done twice and the Russians once. And there the idea was testing out a weapon from space to see if you can destroy a satellite, which you can, it's been proven. Trouble is when you destroy it, one satellite can break up into literally many thousands of pieces.
Sure.
So then you get into this, those pieces then can hit other pieces of satellite or space junk and create more debris. So it's sort of under control at the moment, but it's getting more and more precarious.
Well, I'm sure we can have AI drones doing all that cleanup. Okay, I'll leave now.
Yeah, AI will help for sure.
Thanks,
you.
Kurt.
Thanks for your call, Kurt.
Bye.
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 Well, I see Scott's online too. I'm going to take him after the break, so I'm going to squeeze in. Do we have enough time for me to ask some questions quick? You want to take? Okay, Scott, hang on. We'll get you right after the break at the bottom of the hour. Quick comment. I want you to, if you can, explain to the folks what black holes are in space.
Okay. Well, I have to say first of all a health warning.
Okay.
I may say something wrong. Now I say that because I've just had a message from my sister in Florida.
Yeah, she's coming.
Telling me off. She said it only rained for 2 days.
That's funny.
Sorry, Ali. So yeah, black holes. So one of the things about stars is that they're like human beings. So they're born they live, and then they die. And in the case of stars, the average length of life of a star is 5 or 6 billion years, and maybe a little bit more than that. So many stars which were born after the Big Bang, which was 14 billion years ago, have come to the end of their life. They've exploded, and sometimes new stars form as a result of that. But some stars are very, very big. I mean, a million times bigger than our own sun. And something that large, when it explodes, it may, if it's big enough and heavy enough and ugly enough, it will contract back down on itself rather than expand and go on forever. The gas going on forever, it will expand back on itself. And the whole mass that the sun started with will condense into something that's maybe a mile across. That will have enormous gravity. I mean, absolutely huge gravity, so big that nothing can ever escape, and that includes light. So light can never escape from a black hole.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
And so you can never see them. You can never see a black hole. But we know they're out there. We know there's one at the center of every galaxy. And of course, you know how many galaxies there are because you remember from one of last year's
sure,
lectures.
Of course, yeah.
There are 2 trillion galaxies.
Are real quick? Yes or no? Are black holes dangerous?
If you get near them, yeah. But
so
we're a long way away from them.
Okay, all right. Now here's a quick oddity. And I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not sure. Odd thing that Venus is the only planet that rotates opposite of all the other planets.
Correct.
Why is that, Dr. Holdaway?
They don't really know, Mr. Bob. But it's possible that what happened was because Venus rotates very, very slowly around its own axis. It's possible it was hit by some other body fairly soon after it formed, so like 4, 5, 6 billion years ago, hit by another body that knocked it out of its original orbit, is now in the current one, but goes backwards.
Okay, that's a reasonable answer. I got one more quick question. We've talked in the past about Andromeda heading towards our solar system.
Yep.
And all I ever hear is that the universe is expanding.
Mm-hmm.
How come Andromeda is coming toward us if everything's expanding?
Okay, well, the universe is expanding, and that was postulated by Einstein, the one and only, and then proven by Edwin Hubble in 1925.
You got 25 seconds.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So, the universe is expanding, but not everywhere. So most of it expands at a current rate. Some expands faster than it should, and some actually does exactly the opposite, and things move together, right? Which is what Andromeda is doing. That's where we get to dark energy and dark mass.
Okay. All right. We got 5 seconds at the bottom of the hour. It's a hard break. Stick with us. There's a lot more to come, so stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the Bob Show. We're talking to Dr. Richard Holdaway from England, and we've got Scott on line 2, and I promised we'd get to him right after the break, so let's put our headgear back on. And Scott, are you still there, sir? All right.
I am very pleased that you're back. I'm disappointed that you're not going to be giving the full lecture series, I missed all of them. I missed some of them last year, and I misplaced your email address to get a hold of the slides for them. I don't know if that's still available. If it's not, I understand. But I am greatly looking forward to hearing from you.
Well, good to hear from you, and thank you for the compliments. Yeah, I'm sure we can do a deal. I'll work through my agent Bob here.
Yeah.
And if he gets your details, he'll pass them on to me, and I can sort out the slides from last year.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And for everybody listening, if you have any interest in space and what's happening and lots of other topics, you really can't afford to miss this.
Thank you for the good advertising, Scott.
Okay, and hang on, Scott. We're gonna Scotty here in the studio is going to get you information you need.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You bet. All right, is Tom on? Tom's on the line. Let's go back. Let's go to line 1 with Tom. Are you there, Tom? Did Scotty switch Tom?
Hello.
Yep, Tom, you there?
Hello, Bob.
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
I'm well. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. What's up?
Well, hey, subject. Listen, I read a book that's called "Why the Universe Is the Way It Is" by Hugh Ross. Has your guest ever read that?
No, hi Tom. No, I haven't read the book.
Okay, it's a fascinating book. He goes through all the scientific jargon and theories that you do. First half, second half, he kind of relates all that stuff to biblical references. But why I called was, in this book, he claims that the universe is expanding at an ever rapid pace, and he thinks it might get to the place where the universe is going to expand at the speed of light. Have you ever heard that?
That's interesting.
Well, a couple of things there. First of all, the universe is already expanding pretty close to the speed of light.
Okay.
The uncertainties that have arisen over the last 50-odd years is that, as we were talking about before the previous break, that part of the universe is actually expanding faster than the majority of the universe. And to do that, if we go back to very basic physics, there's only one way that can happen, and that is there's a force acting on that part of the universe. And that force is what we refer to in the science world as dark energy.
Right.
We have no idea what it is, although we've been studying it for many years, but we have no idea what it is really, but we know it's there. And the other, almost the reverse of that, is the fact that some parts of the universe are not only expanding more slowly than average, but they're actually moving towards each other. And that's what Bob referred to earlier on, that the Andromeda galaxy, which is actually our nearest galaxy, is moving towards our galaxy, which is the Milky Way. And the two will collide or interact in about 5 billion years' time, which won't worry us too much or our children or grandchildren, that's for sure. But it'll happen sooner or later. Now, that's not dark energy that's causing that. That's got to be something else. And the something else we refer to as dark matter. So we have these two things, dark energy, dark matter. We don't know what they are, but we know they exist. And the analogy I normally give is that if you're driving along the freeway and you stick your hand out of the window when you're going at a reasonable speed, you feel a force on your hand. It moves your hand backwards. Now, you can't see that. You can't see that force at all, but you know it's there because you can see the effect of it. And that's why we know that there is something called dark energy and something called dark mass. We can't see them, but we can measure the effects of them. And one day we'll find out what they are.
Do you think that those two phenomena have anything to do with the dark holes that are out there?
The black holes? Well, one of the current theories, and they are only theories, as many of these things are, is that black holes have formed as a result of large amounts of dark matter or dark energy, more likely dark energy. But that's just a theory at the moment, and it may be another 5 years, could be another 50 years before we really find out for sure. But there's a lot of study going on in all sorts of parts of the world, not just the US, although the US is leading on that research, that sometime will allow us to find out more precisely what this stuff is.
Yeah. Well, it's fascinating. I recommend that book by Hugh Ross if you're interested.
Yeah, that sounds very good. Thank you very much indeed for that.
Thanks, guys.
Yep,
Thanks for your
thanks,
call.
Tom. Thanks for listening. Bye. I can't. Oh man, now you got me all. Jeez. I lost it. I was going to ask some really profound question and I lost it. That's not good, is it?
It's
Five. Area code 928-541-1016 is the question. Is the telephone if you want to give us a call and ask the doctor a question. And when we get back, we got to take a quick break here. When we get back, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm going to call British things that are going on currently that might be, I don't want to call it dirt, but
yes, you do. You want to stir
odd
it up.
stuff that's going on in Britain. And the guy right across the table knows all that stuff. So stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the Bob Show. We're talking to Dr. Richard Holloway from England. And one of the things we talked about, I think was offline, I'm not sure, about progress that goes on throughout our normal lifespan of 75, 80 years. And one of the things I was thinking about, which fits in here, is when the Hubble thing went up into space, we started looking at space without the atmosphere between the telescopes and stuff and what we could see. We were all just amazed at what's happened. And now James Webb telescopes up there, and you were just saying that there's some amazing things that's going on, and how this particular telescope, am I calling it right? Calling it a telescope, can see into our universe. So I want you to touch on a few of those items.
Yeah, good question as always, Bob. So Hubble it's an optical telescope, so it sees everything at the same sort of wavelength as our eyes. The James Webb Space Telescope works in the infrared, so it's basically looking at heat rather than optical images as we look at. And so what that means is it can see, first of all, it can see further than Hubble, and secondly, it can see through dust, which obscures a lot of what Hubble looks at. I mean, in summary, with James Webb Space Telescope, it's about 1,000 times more powerful than Hubble.
Wow.
Incredible technology. It took a long time to build, and it's been up there now for 3, maybe 4 years. Amazing technology. It's being helped by artificial intelligence as well, looking at the data, because one of the biggest problems with AI that it's trying to solve is just the huge amount of data that there is coming back from space missions. One of the things that James Webb has been looking at recently is right to the very far edge of the universe, or as far as it's able to see. The universe is 14 billion light years away, the edge of it, and it's been able to see more than 13.5 billion years. So right back to the very early formation of stars and galaxies. And in fact, one of the latest pictures that was produced just a few weeks ago shows the furthest galaxy that's ever been seen. And that was 250 million years after the Big Bang. Now, 250 million years sounds a long time. But in terms of the age of the universe, it's very, very little. And of course, after the Big Bang, stuff had to form. It was all gas originally. Then it had to form into little tiny solid bits, and then the little tiny solid bits formed into bigger solid bits, and bigger, until you've got a critical mass that could form something like a planet, except that it was a prototype star. And they were all very, very hot. Prototype stars, they developed in fully blown stars, nuclear fusion and all kind of that kind of stuff. And then those stars started forming together in groups of stars, known as galaxies. So James Webb has done a lot of work in the last few months looking in the very distances of the universe. And it's the sort of thing that we didn't know what it would find, but we had no idea that it would find quite so many galaxies in the very early stages of the universe.
And it's only been up there for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, saying. That's right.
So it's just getting started.
Yeah, it's just getting started. Kind of interesting as well that one thing that James Webb will never be able to do is to see right back to the very edge of the universe. And that's because there aren't any stars there. So it will never see the gas that is still there, or the signature from that gas. But we now believe there's a way of doing it. And I alluded to this in the lecture series last year. But there's a group, quite a large group, that I'm involved with that's led by Cavendish Lab in Cambridge, and also involves ASU down in Phoenix, and indeed involves a couple of people here at Embry-Riddle,
yeah.
One scientist, one engineer, that are looking at an experiment that would actually be able to measure what happened in those first 200 million years after the Big Bang. So we've got the proposal together. We've submitted it in its original form to the European Space Agency. It'll get iterated, go backwards and forwards, and hopefully that might fly in the next 4 or 5 years.
I want to try to put something in perspective that ran through my head here, and it's kind of an unfair thing, but I think about it for a second.
That's never stopped you.
No, it doesn't stop me. The planet Earth, has anybody ever kind of thought through the average size of a planet that's been discovered in the universe and where Earth would be in as an average size planet? Are we tiny, or are we kind of a little bit bigger than tiny? Where are we in the perspective?
Well, if you start with our own solar system, where there are 8.5 planets,
we're
the
like
half being Pluto,
yeah.
We're one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
It's the big gas giants that are the really big ones, like Jupiter and Saturn and Uranus and Neptune. So for our solar system, we're slightly towards the smaller end. In terms of planets out there, something like 5,000 planets have been discovered around other stars. And on average, we're about a third of the way from the smallest to the largest. So we're relatively small, but unique in a sense, as far as we know at the moment, because of life. We're looking for planets that might contain life. That means they've got to be planets that are relatively close to their sun to be warm enough, not too far away from their parent star to be too cold.
Have water.
And water and carbon and a bunch of other things. But of course, that's if you're looking for life that looks like us. And of course, there may be life out there that looks nothing remotely like us. Not just because they've got 3 heads and 1 arm.
Yeah.
But they could be completely different life form. We have no idea.
If you ask 100 scientists like that talk about or think about space all the time, out of the 100, how many of them would say, I know this is another unfair question, that they would surmise there might be life on another planet? All 100?
You chose your words very well
I
there,
know.
you see, because there are only 2 answers to the question, is there life out there? And the options aren't yes and no. The answers are yes and maybe, because you can never say no. You can never say there's no life out there, because you can never prove a negative. So the answer has to be either yes there is, or maybe there is. And as of today, as we sit here, there is no conclusive proof of life anywhere.
We haven't seen anybody walking around or anything like that.
No,
on the
and there's no
someplace.
evidence of it whatsoever. I mean, I've read, as I said to a number of other audiences, I've read all the DOD, MOD, everything else reports on life and aliens and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the things we still don't understand, but there is no proof of life whatsoever at the moment.
Okay. Do you think it's possible that the government might be hiding something because they don't think we can handle it?
Governments handling things, hiding things, Bob? Surely not. Yeah, it's possible, but it's very, very unlikely.
Not likely.
Very unlikely indeed.
Yeah. Okay. One more quick question before we go to break. How smart was Albert Einstein?
Pretty darn smart.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got another story about how smart he was.
Okay. Well, hold on.
But that's not for today. That's for the 24th of February
Oh, okay.
as well.
Oh, we're gonna have a good thing then. Okay. Go. Let's go ahead and take. Is this our last break, Andrew? Okay. Take our last break. We'll be right back. Stick with us. And we're back here on the Bob Show. We're having a great time today talking to Dr. Richard Holdaway and all about space and everything. But I want to get down. Richard's from England. We know that. And I want to get down to some things that are happening over there that seem a little odd to most Americans. And I'll just start with three names: Charles, William, and Andrew. And maybe, throw in Andrew's wife.
Fergie.
And tell us, what's her name?
Sarah Ferguson, known as Fergie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's Andrew's the guy who's with, who's Megan's. That's
Megan's married to Harry.
Harry.
I'll say a little bit about Charles, William, and Andrew if you promise that you guys keep Harry and Meghan over here.
No promises.
We don't want them back. I'll probably get into trouble with my sister again for saying that, but there we go.
Well, I heard they were thinking about coming back, or that they said some kind of a place for him to stay for a little while.
I think Harry's put out a few feelers. I've no idea about Meghan. I mean, to be quite honest, most people don't care about them anymore. They're just fed up with the stories, and they wish the press would leave them alone.
Well, how are you guys thinking about Charles as king?
Well, I think I said on your show last year, he's had a really tough act to follow with the Queen. She was completely unique in many, many ways. And even though he had 70 years of training to become king, it was still an impossible act. He's sort of doing okay. He's pretty harmless, and his heart's in the right place most of the time. He waffles a bit, and like so many celebs these days, he talks about things he really doesn't know much about.
Yeah.
As you saw on TV just a couple of nights ago at the music equivalent of the Grammys. But he's doing okay, and his wife Camilla, who most people were against becoming queen, is actually doing okay as well. I think most people have accepted
her,
that she's she's there doing a great job supporting him. I don't think she ever wanted to be queen particularly. She just wanted to be with him, and they are, and good luck to them.
And it's interesting that Queen Elizabeth was kind of, I don't want to say an accident of history, but a unique thing that happened
It wasn't
in history.
supposed to happen, yeah.
And we had her for all those years, and I don't know anybody who just didn't really think she was a wonderful person.
She was super. I met her, I don't know, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And she was always gracious. You always felt overawed meeting her. But she was very good at putting people.
What you
at
have in
ease.
the little purse?
Oh, probably a 1p coin just in case.
I heard silly things like if you're
Lipstick. She definitely had lipstick.
Lipstick. If you're dining with her, when she's done, you're done.
Absolutely right. Yes.
And if she got up, everybody else got up.
Correct.
Kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
there's certain protocol that always goes on. Yeah. Okay. So Harry and Meghan are not welcome. Andrew's been exiled. He's still in England somewhere, but
Yes, he is. So he's no longer Prince Andrew. He's Andrew Montgomery Windsor. So he's, I think he's now moved. If he hasn't, he's moving into a place on Sandringham, which is one of the royal estates. He's going to have to survive on a couple of million a year, probably. Poor guy.
Poor guy.
But his world came crashing down a few years ago, and the latest revelations don't help. I mean, the kind of odd thing is, certainly in the UK, and it seems to be similar-ish over here, that all the focus is on him rather than anybody else. There's a bit of news about Clinton and a bit of news about Bill Gates and so on, but the focus is still on Andrew, and that may be just to deflect it from the other guys.
And William, he seems like an okay guy.
Yeah. These are just my opinion and what I know from what I read of public opinion, but he's pretty popular, as is the Princess of Wales, Catherine. She's very much like Diana. She gets on very well with people. She just comes across as a very nice person.
Yeah.
Puts people at their ease as well.
Is she done? Is she? I guess you never get over it. But her illness issues with cancer.
It certainly seems to be in remission. She seems to be a lot better, as does Charles. And of course, they have the best medical care you can get. Of
course.
So they're in good hands. But
what I heard was that she's getting again. She's becoming more active physically.
Yep.
In sports and stuff. And I'm hearing things like she'll be doing something and she'll say something to William about it, and he'd say something like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that," kind of thing, or that's way too risky. And
they have a laugh with each other, which is nice to see. They've got 3 lovely kids. They're obviously bringing them up very, very well and trying to keep them out of the publicity limelight as well. So, I think when Charles passes, I think William will do a great job, and there'll be a great family as the head of the monarchy in the UK.
Yeah, the baby boomers are starting to check out. So
thank you for reminding me of that.
Me too. Well, okay. If there was one thing that Americans should know about the British, one thing that we should know about the British, what would it be?
We know how to play football, and we call it football, not this soccer nonsense. So we're pretty good at football, as you'll see in the World Cup this year. You'll find out on July the 4th that we forgive you for kicking us out of the UK, out of the US rather.
Okay.
So when you have all your celebrations, we'll forgive you for that.
Okay, thank you.
We'd like our tea back, or at least the recompense for all the tea you threw in the harbour of Boston.
Yeah, that's right.
But apart from that, we're relatively friendly. We speak a funny sort of language that most of your guys can understand, and we can understand most of what you have to say.
That's true. That's true.
So we're generally friendly.
Okay. Good to hear. Now, just real quick, mark your calendars. March 3rd is the next Bob Show. We're going to have a very interesting program for you. So please plan to spend an hour with us on March the 3rd, the first Tuesday in March. And I want to go back to what's happening on February 24th. So everybody gets the word right. It's the Davis Learning Center.
It's the big auditorium at the university.
Big auditorium. Yeah. There'll be plenty of seating at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. They had somebody from Embry-Riddle on this station the other day, and they were talking about all kinds of things they're doing out there that are unique and interesting, including the space issues.
Yep.
And it starts at 7 o'clock on February 24th, and you're going to be giving a talk. And you're going to be talking about a lot of interesting things that you're not divulging on the Bob Show. So you got to come out there on the 24th to hear them.
Absolutely, yeah, 24th, and plenty of time for Q&A afterwards.
Same time what?
Plenty of time for questions and answers after the talk.
Right. Okay. So if you got, stuff that you're thinking about, this is your chance because, this is the one time this year that you're going to be giving a talk.
So anything you want to know about space, AI, do come along and tell your friends.
Yeah.
More the merrier.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Okay, folks, thank you very much for listening to us today, and we will see you March 3rd, first Tuesday in March, and we're going to have a very special program for you. So thanks for listening. See you next time.